Okay, so welcome back. I hope you had a chance to look at the introduction to understand a bit how we read the text. But before we begin reading the text, this is basically plate one of the Ani Book of the Dead. And what we're going to be doing today is actually interpreting the symbology behind the images that we see here on this vignette of the first plate. So this is the plate itself on the first book, which is of the outermost book. That's why you can see it's a little bit damaged in some areas like here and here. So this was at the outermost part of the actual entire book. So let's start off by reading the right. Let's start off with the left side and seeing what that's all about over here. So let me just bring this down. So this is the full text right over here, but it's been divided. So we'll read that later. So what this is the very first book of the Egyptian Book of Ani. This is called, as you can see below here, the introductory hymn of the sun god Re. So what you have here on the left side is quite simply Ani, dressed wonderfully in his full regalia, and usually you're going to see him like this in every other book, dressed neatly and nicely with his wig and his little beard over here that he has, and his arms are always up in the standard form of worshipping and praising. To his left is his wife, Tutu. She is basically dressed as well, and usually women, their jobs in their society is to prepare the tomb and the sacred rites for the husband in the family when he passes away. So Tutu is also dressed lavishly, but on her head she holds also a little wax cone. Traditionally, when there were festivals or weddings or parties or even funerals, the women and also the men used to wear these wax cones on their head, and what this was a scented perfume, and throughout the night it would melt on their wig, and slowly it would become completely melted on their heads, also always keeping the scent richer. She has a little lotus flower there attached to it. That's more of a decoration. Now, in her right hand, she holds a sistrum, and in her left hand, she holds a manat. These are two instruments for creating sound, and usually in the mutual ritual rites of funerary, they would be used to rattle in order to make noise, so it was customary to make that kind of sound. In front of Ani, over here, you have an offering, which is very standard. Usually Egyptians believed in offering food to the gods like many ancient societies, and here you have a basket of food, of meat, bread, wine, some herbs, and this was offered to the gods. Now, moving to the the right side, this image here has a whole meaning. So let's start off by the top. So you can see here on the very top, this is a sun disk, and that's the representation of the god Re, which is the god of creation. And he basically comes out into the daylight every day. And below, he's being held by arms which are attached to a famous symbol, Ankh, which is the symbol of life. And here basically showing that life is holding up Re, and he is forever eternal. Below him, you have what is called the Jed Pillar. Jed pillars are representative of stability and strength. So when you have something in society that says you're a sturdy king, you are stable, you are constant, which is what the Egyptians really sought after since they believed the world was formed out of chaos. Now the two female goddesses here that you have next to him, the very first one right here is Isis. Isis is the wife and sister of Osiris, who's the god of the underworld now, and also the father of Horus. And she is basically identified by simply the symbol on her head. It is the only way you would know. She's quite generic in looking, but the symbol on the head is the indication of the type of goddess. On to the right side, you have Nephthys, who is also the sister of Isis, and she's leaning and worshiping in praise. Now they're both sitting on a symbol of Nebu. This is basically the symbol of gold. And this is basically to represent that the skin of the gods, it was considered gold to Egyptians. So that's why it was so highly valued. And since gold doesn't tarnish, the gods never died or tarnished. And below them is a mat leaf, mat reed mat, which usually Egyptians would sit on. And that's what's representative here below, holding the Nebu, keeping it off the ground. And in the back, you have the Jew. This is the rolling hill. This is the horizon where the sun would rise on a daily basis. And also you have on the very top here are the 6 baboons. And the baboons are representative of the god Thoth. Each animal had a godly figure, and the baboons are of Thoth, which is the god of scribe and language and literature. And the baboons were known historically to actually screech when the sun would rise, and this was documented in the ancient scripts. So here you have them representing and bringing forth the sun as it comes out of the horizon. And they, of course, are standing on the rolling desert hills, which is what the deserts were, rolling mounds of hills, and that's what they have represented here. And above you have Pet. Pet is the goddess sky. This is the symbol that you'll see throughout the script as well as representation of the sky. And basically it covers the entire earth from above. So what you have here as a full scene is illustration of the beginning of the sun's daily journey through the sky when it emerges out of the desert horizon after its nighttime journey in the underworld, which is known as the duat in Egyptian. The entire vignette is framed by the worshipping of the image of the rolling desert on which stand 6 baboons worshipping the sun. Other variations of the same vignette show the complete cycle of one scene, with the sun being received into the arms of the goddess representing the underworld. So this is the representation that we have here, the introductory hymn to the sun god Re, coming forth by day and being born, which is, of course, representative of the beginning of the first plate. So, if you like this video, please subscribe and like, and please stay tuned for now the next longer version of the plate 1, where we will be actually reading the script entirely in itself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm very sure you'll enjoy following the script and finally learning to identify keywords and characters, which you'll eventually see in many texts throughout Egyptian history. So please stay tuned to the next video and enjoy.